Conversations with Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. The world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Let's talk about conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host. And Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday. Wellness Wednesday is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to talk about whatever it is we want to talk about. And today we are talking about your dirty laundry and why it is important for you to handle your family business. Handle your family business. So we're going to be cleaning up, and not literally cleaning this dirty laundry, but from a mental, a spiritual, and I guess a social standpoint as well. So tag a friend, let them know that they need to be on here. I want to hear from you. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the Greater Works Network on RokuTV. So I want to hear from you. This is interactive. This is a safe space for us to come together. The whole purpose of these conversations is to encourage us to engage with counselors and therapists of color and get your checkup from the neck up. So my special guest tonight is Miss Magnolia Hood, and I will bring her on in just a little bit. But again, I want to hear from you. So if you will, in the comments, let me know what city and state you are tuning in from. What city and state are you tuning in from? I want to give you a shout out. I see you, Mr. Caron Montgomery, who is a clinician in Central Florida and who has been on the show. Thank you for being on here, my brother. Hope you are doing well. So it is March 1st. Is Women's History Month. We just came off of a very busy Black History Month. And so all excited about everything women and women's history this month. So y'all love on the women in your lives, right? Because without us, y'all wouldn't be here, right? All right, we got Ozzy Daniel on, my resident. I think we call him the resident clinician. He's on with us the last Monday of the month out of Virginia Beach, Virginia. Thank you for being here. We got Katrish Wright from Tallahassee. Thank you for being here. As well as Miss Jeanette in Miami Gardens, Florida. Thank you for being here, Miss Jeanette. Hope you are doing well tonight. We got Maya in the house. Thank you. My DOH sister. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. We got Juanito here in Tallahassee. My ACDT brother. Thank you for being here in Tallahassee. Appreciate you. All right. So again, tag someone, let them know they need to be on here because this is going to be an interactive, interesting conversation. So we invite your comments and your questions. So while others are joining us, I am going to go ahead and read some of Miss Hood's bio. Magnolia Hood is a native of the south side of Chicago, Illinois. She moved to Southern Illinois initially to pursue her undergraduate degree at Southern Illinois University, Carbondale, and grew roots there. In her 19 years at Carbondale, she obtained 2 degrees, started her career, and worked in various ministry roles at her church. As a third-generation teen mom and first-generation college graduate, she was able to defy statistics and break various cycles within her family and community. Magnolia values mentorship and often serves as a support to youth and young women to help foster relationships and teach women to pursue their purpose in a way that allows them to live in their truth. Merging her purpose, passion, and profession, she worked at various mental health settings. While at her alma mater, she launched and coordinated the Counselor in Residence program and co coordinated the outreach program. In August of 2018, she and her family relocated to Tallahassee, where she now serves in her local faith community and is on staff at Counseling and Psychological Services at Florida State University. She is the owner and founder of Sound Mind Works LLC, a multifaceted empowerment and consultation organization that helps to motivate, strengthen, and push others into their desired position in life. Ms. Hood is active in her local and professional community as the second vice president of the Greater Tallahassee section of the National Council of Negro Women and diversity chair of the Mental Health Counselors of Central Florida. Y'all help me welcome Miss Magnolia Hood.
Good evening, Nicole. Good evening.
Good
Good evening,
evening.
everyone. Good
Yes,
evening.
thank you for being here. So,
Thank you for inviting me.
my pleasure, my pleasure. So, y'all, I had the great pleasure of hanging out with Magnolia yesterday because I coordinated and co-facilitated a listening and sharing session of Black and Brown counselors and therapists here in Tallahassee, and so we had a grand time just talking about some of the issues that surround counseling, specifically the cost of counseling and types of counseling and services. And so yesterday was my first time meeting her. And well, no, it wasn't my first time meeting you in person, but I got to hang out with you a little longer yesterday. So that was
Yes,
cool.
yes, that
Yes, yes,
was.
yes. So
Yes.
tell the people, who is Magnolia Hood? Not what you do, but who are you?
Yes, I am. You know what? I am like what you would call like around the way girl in a good way. So I enjoy just hanging out. I enjoy being around people. I'm so people oriented. Although I really like my alone time. People always are surprised when I say, like, I'm really shy. And they're like, no, you're not. But really, I am a Netflix lifetime girl at heart, but I come alive when I'm around people. I love helping people, hence every job I've ever had. Um, but on the other side of that, I am a mom, I am a believer at my core, and I right now in my current space, in my current life space, I am rebaking myself. So
Hmm.
I don't know. We'll see, Nicole. We don't see what this year do. We'll see who I am after this.
Okay.
After this
I love
year.
it. I love it. Listen, I think we ought to be becoming better versions of ourselves all the time, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm. Okay, good deal. So let me pause. I see my cousin Denise on here. Thank you for being here out of
Good
Texas.
cousin Denise.
Yes, 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 yes. Appreciate you, appreciate you. So, y'all, again, this is an interactive live, but before we get to the discussion, I definitely want to read my disclaimer, which is that all topics past, present, and future on Conversations with Nicole are for informational purposes only. They are not to be used as a diagnosis for treatment or an answer to any personal issues related to the topic being discussed before, during, or after the program. All right, I said it. All right, so let's dive in. Now, you and I talked, it seems like a few months ago,
Uh-huh.
initially about, kind of what were some of your favorite things to talk about. And one of the things that you talked about was handling our family business, like getting
Yes,
your house in order. And so
yes.
cleaning your dirty laundry. What does that mean to you? What does that mean to you? Cleaning your dirty laundry.
That means being able to talk about the things that we don't talk about in our families. not in a way that is not respectful and honest, and not in a way that's, that would cause anybody to feel demeaned in any way, but in a way that the generations after us, the generations ahead, can have the best, so that they can do better than the previous generations are able to do. I like to say it like this: I was purposed for brokenness because I was broken. And so out of my own brokenness, God has allowed me to be able to sit in the capacity of counselor to help others at times when they are broken. And one of the things that we always can see in some way is that it goes back to the family in some way. That's not to say that you didn't have good parents. That's not to say that your parents didn't try hard. It's not to say any of that, but almost all the time, whatever it is, there is something in the family that has been, there, that allowed us to get to that place in some way, somehow. And so handling the family business is being able to not just ask the questions that need to be asked, but have the conversations that need to be had. And so that's making sure that the family secrets, like I truly, truly believe that, where we are as a people, no matter what color you are, and we're not talking about, we can definitely talk about culture, because culture definitely matters, but just generally as a people, family secrets used to, be something that, yes, they can stay swept under the rug. Yes, they can stay in the back of the attic. Yes, they can stay wherever they are. But now we are in a time that family secrets are killing us, or causing us to be sick, or causing us some discomfort or some type of life issue, that if we talk about it, if we are able to get to the bottom of it, then maybe it won't, if I'm able to ask the questions, it may not help me, it may just provide light for me, but I can do the work so that it won't impact my daughters, because again, it's not just for me, but for the generations after me.
Indeed. So tell me, if you don't mind, if you can share, you mentioned family secrets, and I think that's a big part of this whole conversation, right? Around this dirty laundry. And so the family secrets, what might some of those family secrets consist of?
So sometimes it's, just simple things like, like where we come from as a people, where where was your family, where did they come from, where were they born, how were they raised. A funny example, I'm gonna give you a funny example. When I was younger, right, we were not allowed to say lie. It just wasn't allowed. We couldn't say lie. I never knew why. I never even asked. I just couldn't say it, so I didn't say it. When I had my daughter, my oldest daughter, it's something that we say, you don't say lie. So you just pass it on. You don't say lie. So she didn't say lie because I said, don't say lie. When I had my youngest daughter, she come home one day and she's telling me about some little boy in her classroom. And she says, well, Mom, the little boy, he lied on me. And I said, what? He did what? He lied on me. And how you ask them to repeat it, thinking that they're going to fix it. She never fixed it. And so I said, you don't say lie. And she stopped and she said, why? And Nicole, I did not know. I didn't know why. Like, I didn't know why. So what did I say? You go to your room. What else I would say? But at that point, at that time, I'm now accountable for this because I need to give her an answer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I called my mom. I said, Mama, why can't we say lie? And the first thing she say, that's the youngest daughter of yours, isn't she? She knew. And she said, well, you don't say it because it's mean. You know, it's not nice to say.
Right.
And so all this time I'm sitting here thinking that it was something great. Like, you know, who knew why? But at that point, I found out something simple, right? Don't say lie. When I, you know, after that, I can go upstairs and I can tell her, we don't say that because it's just not a nice word. It's just not nice. You don't say it, you know, it's not respectful. And she went along with it, but I could tell it really still didn't make sense to her. You know, she was just like, what? Like, not respectful. It's not respectful for him to lie on me either, but okay. So something like that. We hear a lot of times about different things being passed through the family, and we don't know why. We just keep it up because that's what's been happening. That's what they said. That's what we do. So where we come from, why do we do the things that we do? For another example, and I'm just going to use my life. Mm-hmm. As you said in my bio, I am a third generation teen mom. Third generation. Well, when I became a teen mom, I made it clear that day that this can't be. Like, we can't do this over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. And so when it came time for me, I was very vocal with my kids. If they ask me a question, I'm answering it. If they, you know, anything that they come home with, we having a conversation about it. And there were times my mom used to say, you just kind of talk too much to them. You talk too much. But really, I want them to have as much information as they can. So when they make a decision, they're making an informed decision. They want to, so they can know why, so they can know what that is the result of. I want to make it clear. So family secrets, so to speak, or what we might call the dirty laundry in the family, what happens is because the people involved may not be okay with it, if they haven't made peace with it, then there's shame there, or there's still a lot of stigma within the family. There's, you know, a lot of like underlying issues that haven't come to light. And so what happens is our children then go and do the same thing, or something worse happens. Like, oftentimes I come across, you know, clients, or I work with a lot of women, for example, that there's generations of abuse. There's a generation of abuse in the family, and everybody knows it, but they don't talk about it. Well, now when they come in contact with me, I'm saying, well, let's look at this. And I'm giving them homework to go back and ask questions. Because now you have to tell me, how come you knew that these things been happening for 5 generations, for 4 generations, and you never said anything, or that nobody protected the generation previous that caused it to happen again to the next generation? It may not be the same person, it may not be the same anything, but it's just the patterns that happen. If we don't talk about them, then they remain under the surface. And then when the next generation plays it out, it's just all, you know, that's just what happens, or all, that's just what this is, or what that is. I am an advocate of wholeness. And
so let me pause you real quick. one, I just want to acknowledge some folks that are on the live. I
Oh
see
yes,
Lawrence Bradley. Thank you for being here. My sister Shayla
evening,
down
Lord.
in South Florida. Thank you for being here,
Evening, Sister Shayla
Miss Felicia Thomas here in Tallahassee, and then my
and
cousin
Felicia.
Elnora in Virginia, and also I think did I mention my girlfriend Susan, who also is in Virginia.
And
Thank you all.
Susan.
Yes, appreciate you all for being here. So Karen said it because I was about to say, he said molestation and addiction because I was, although I appreciate your example, I really want to get to the meat of this because I believe that there are definitely some um, abusive, uh, dysfunctional, unhealthy family secrets that happen that are why they are secret
Yep.
because it's unhealthy, it's dysfunctional, and it's toxic. And
Mm-hmm.
so those two in particular, molestation and addiction, I
Yes.
think there should be some light shined on that. But I want to and I see you, Benicia, thank you for being here.
Hey,
I want,
Bernicia.
yeah, she was at our event yesterday. I want to kind of um, explore some of the conversation around why that may be difficult to talk about in terms of the cleaning of the dirty laundry. Like, why it may be difficult to address. So even in your example, right, of don't say
Mm-hmm.
lies, because
Mm-hmm.
my mom was the same way. We,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't even know if she did that with my sister so much, but there were certain things that I just couldn't do. You don't sit in a man's lap. You don't say lie. You don't say any curse words like that. Mm-mm,
Mm-hmm.
no. Um, yeah. So and maybe I questioned it a little bit within, but not to her ever out loud.
Yeah. Because it was also don't ask questions, right? Like don't question me. You
Hmm.
don't ask me no
Hmm.
questions. You do what you told. Like it.
Right,
that was the formula. I'll tell you to you do it. That's it.
right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I don't know, Shay, are you asking that we couldn't say loud? You were, oh, she said yes, definitely. All right. So, Felicia says legacy of shame.
And that's what I was gonna say. She hit it on the head. There's
Okay.
these legacies of shame,
Hmm.
and it could be shame on any part. Sometimes it's the shame because when we let's just take molestation and then we'll do addiction. When there's molestation, you've got it's a it's just like addiction, it's a family issue. It's not just the issue of the victim and the perpetrator. It's a family issue
Hmm.
because once it is made known, if that's not remedied, then whoever didn't remedy it is now you're complicit in this. So you are just as to blame as the perpetrator for whatever reason. Now we know that there's a lot of reasons. Again, when we look at, dynamics and stuff in the past, we know there's reasons why, right? But the reasons don't matter. It's the simple fact that I might have knew it happened and I might not have did anything about it. So now I have to carry the shame of not doing anything about it. The person that did it might have some shame. And of course, the person that it has happened to, the survivor, has shame too. So now you got three people with shame, right? And that's just, off that. This legacy of shame, it's insidious. And so it then spreads to other places and other space and you don't know the ramifications of it until it comes to the surface. But because it's just underneath the surface, because it's a secret, we don't talk about it.
Hmm.
We don't talk about it, but it comes out. And so when it comes out, we don't know that that's what it was,
Mhm.
because we are likely calling it something else. And that's why it's hard to talk about.
So let me give greetings to Warren Cave here in Tallahassee, as well as Crystal Avalis, who's here in Tallahassee. So, and to Belinda, Miss Boom, who says that she doesn't allow her knowledge and past experiences with specific family members to dictate the relationship her daughter has with those said individuals. It's interesting hearing her views about them. So, if I'm understanding you correctly, you try not to taint maybe or influence your daughter's interaction with those persons, though you have knowledge of some of their past experiences. Which I can respect that. And her daughter is, just because I know her personally, her daughter is an adult. But the caution for me, even in what you were saying about, and thank you for the clarity, Boom. Um, in what you were saying, some of what can be dangerous, especially for small children, is if they witness some, or experience some particular things that are toxic, abusive, that sort of thing. And so they may be at a bit of a disadvantage, because if this is a person that provides shelter and food and their survival,
Yeah.
what happens to them if they
Yeah.
speak up or out
There
about?
you go. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes that is the case, right? Like you, and I say this as a mom, right? So as a mom, even though like I was very aware of everywhere my kids went, they had 2 places that they were going to go that wasn't church or school. And to this day, my oldest and her friends, they laugh about it. Kaja couldn't go nowhere. But I also made it very clear to her, I don't care who it is. If they look at you in a way and you feel uncomfortable, let's talk about it. Sometimes I also go back and check in. I used to go back and check in on her too, to make sure. Sometimes it's not just the fact that this person provides for us. This person is the major caretaker. This person is the person that we rely on, or one of the people that we rely on. Sometimes do I feel safe to say what happened? Because what if it's not that? What if it is somebody that's outside of the home? And you also then have that too. Like there's also the reality that the person, the survivor, could be holding on to this because they just don't feel safe to talk about it. So it's not just how we talk about the things that happen, the bad things, the dirty things, but what's the environment overall? If I don't feel protected when the teacher lies on me, because I'm grown now. Can I say lie, Miss Nicole? Can I say if I don't feel protected?
You have permission to say lie on here.
Okay. So if I don't feel protected when the teacher
Mom,
say
close
lie,
your ears. Close your ears, okay? My mama just got on here, so just close your ears, Mom.
I'm sorry, Mom. If I don't feel protected on something like that, then that might be the same thing too, right? So sometimes it's the environment as well. What types of relationships do we have in this house? If we have generations of poor mother-daughter relationships, we probably not gonna talk about that because we don't feel safe. If we have generations of poor marital relationships, we probably, it's not, those are the kinds of things.
Indeed. And so Karen mentions that this causes intergenerational cycles of abuse and victimization.
Yes. Yes, definitely, definitely, definitely.
Right.
Or even one of the things, so in my private practice, I have a class called um, Family Matters, handling the family business. And one of the things that we do is we love to do those family trees for family reunions, right? We put all the people on there and they leaves and all that good stuff. That's great and wonderful. However, we do a different kind of family tree, and we put the things on the family that are the family business. So we put if we have family issues in our health. Is everybody, and like I said, we can settle in on molestation. We can settle in on addiction because we put the addictions on there. Where did it start? Did it start, generations ago? Is this something new? Where did it start? Who was the first person? And I think one of the things, and I say this in a way because that's sometimes what keeps us from handling the family business, is the defensiveness that comes with it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're not identifying the issues to shame anybody, to tell anybody, you're wrong. We're not digging up graves for the purpose of getting justice. We're not doing that. When you do that in therapy. You get your justice in therapy, but for the particular family business course, we do it so that we can name the thing. We want to call the thing a thing and stop whispering. We want to call the thing a thing so that people can get answers and say, oh, that's why I tend not to have good relationships, because none of us really have good relationships. Everybody's on their third, husband. Again, not in a way to cause anybody to feel bad, not in that way at all, but in the way that it answers questions so that then the people can do the deep dive. Let me go inside of me and see how I can root this out, because I don't want that to be me or my kids.
Magnolia, you about to set the captives free. Before you do, though, hold on a minute, y'all. So for those of you who are just joining us, I am live with Magnolia Hood, a clinician based here in Tallahassee, Florida, and we are talking about cleaning out the dirty laundry, cleaning your dirty laundry, dealing with the family business. And the family business is not, it ain't so good. And so we talking about, some of the dysfunction, the toxicity,
Mm-hmm.
the abuse, all of the things, right? And so
Yes. Yes.
specifically, we were just talking about we're not trying to, in calling this thing out, is so
Mm-hmm.
that you will know what the thing is and
Yep.
not think that it's something else, right?
Yep. Not think
Um,
it's something else. Yep.
yes, yes. So I got like quite a few people that just tuned in. So I gotta give a greeting to,
Awesome.
yes, to Kiosha, Miss
Hi,
Fine, who was
Bianca.
on about 2 weeks ago talking about being consistent, about being persistent. My
Yes.
good friend Michael Cork of the Michael Cork Morning Show, who I'm on Mondays, um, giving some mindful moments. Then also Pumpkin is on with us, Tamu Griffin here in Tallahassee, and
Hey
my
there, Emma.
my my childhood friend Rosalind Wynn is on here as well. She got her eyes. She checking us out. She's here in
Okay.
Tallahassee too. Yes. All right. So yes, Cork said call a thing a thing. My cousin Denise says I'll talk to my daughter about everything good or the bad, which is great. You know, a lot of
Yes.
times, sometimes parents, and I think in an effort to protect maybe their children from
Mm-hmm.
the reality of life, may
Yeah.
elect or choose not to discuss bad things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And again, just one of the things that jump out at me, I was leaving the doctor's office after my mom took me to the doctor, I'm guessing the Holy Ghost told her I was pregnant because I told her I wasn't. And after she found out that I was pregnant, and we are on the bus going back home, and she said to, and we, like I said, we never had no talk about birds, bees, dogs, cats, or nothing. So
Now, how old were you?
I had just turned 16 when we 2 days after I turned 16, we went to the doctor. And she said to me on the bus, she said, "This is why I told you I didn't want you having no boyfriend." And I was like, that was it? Like, that was my talk? Okay. So there we go. Check.
Oh,
All right. So that was the talk. But
hold on, Magnolia. Hold on, Magnolia. Michael Cork said that Holy Ghost will get you every time.
Every time Michael told her, I told her 3 times I wasn't. I told her, I told the doctor, I told all them that I wasn't. No, I'm not. Not me. No, it was a real secret.
Jack said, for sure. Okay,
yes.
thank you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Carry
and the
on.
thing about it is, when I think about it, right, once I became older, right, and had more understanding, how is my mom going to give me a talk about something that she didn't get a talk about? And then how was my grandma going to give her a talk about something she didn't get to talk about?
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, when I think back to my great grandma, when I go back, that was the era of survival. Like, we're not having a whole lot of wholesome, let's sit down, eat popcorn, watch movies. Like, my great grandma was trying to make sure that her kids had what they had. She was trying to make sure she made a living. She had, she was trying to stabilize her family. She was taking care of, whoever, all the people. So she's not sitting down having these talks, right? And so what that said to me was, and I found that out early, you can't give what you don't have.
Yep. Bingo.
And so I don't have to beat I wasn't upset with my mom. After that, I didn't feel like, oh, this is her fault. She couldn't give me something that she didn't have. Right. So that gave me all the onus. Oh, I'm getting it all because we're not going to have this again. So when I thought to myself, well, I'm going to talk, since I never got to talk, I'm going to talk to my kids when they get to high school, because I didn't get to talk when I was in high school. When my oldest daughter came home in 6th grade and told me that girls was doing flips with cheerleading skirts on and no underwear, then we finna have a talk. Right. So I didn't say, well, you just wait until you get in high school and I'm gonna talk to you about that. No, we gonna sit right here on these stairs and we about to talk about it, all of it. Because when you don't give wind to it, if you don't talk about it, and I told my kids this, there is nothing under the sun I'm gonna have you learn about from your friends that I can teach you. If I can teach it to you, you're gonna learn it from me. Because I'm not gonna give you a chance to learn about it in the bathroom with your friends, because they clueless like you. And so I'm just not gonna do it. So when we talk about family business, we talk about relationships. What are the relationships? What did that look like? What's the tone in the family? And it's usually during the time when you get around others that you realize that everybody don't do the same things that you do in your family, right? When you go visit somebody else, or then you realize, like, oh, my family is a little different. Oh, okay.
Exactly. Right. So Felicia said her mother gave her books to read, and she understands now that no one told her.
Yep.
So that was her way of,
that was
addressing
it. Yep. That was the talk. Here's the book. There you go.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So we got Mr. Warren. Oh, Keosha said we cannot heal what we don't reveal.
We cannot. We cannot. And I say this. Like I said, I'm a believer at my core,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not being preachy churchy. But this is one thing. When we think about the issues, this is why we have to call a thing a thing. If we don't say what it is, we don't know what to do with it. We don't know what to say about it. When I'm in counseling, I give a diagnosis because the diagnosis tells me how I go about treatment. If there is no diagnosis, then I put criteria together, and I can still say it's no diagnosis, but I still have some kind of way to know how do I go about helping this person. That's secular. When we think about believers, we call a thing because if we want to get rid of it, we got to give it a name so that it can bow. Because we know, and the Bible tells us, that at the name of Jesus, that every knee is going to bow. So if it's a legacy of shame, shame got to bow. If we have generational illness got to bow. What's the illness? Cancer, diabetes, heart problems, hypertension, whatever it is, it's got to bow. Whatever it is, we have to make it obedient to Christ. And if you don't call it a name, it's just out here. So yes, we call it a name. Oh, that's abandonment. So if we have generations of mothers that didn't raise their children, not the same as like, oh, between mom and grandma, but we sometimes have generations of mothers that didn't raise their children. That's abandonment. So we got to call that a thing, abandonment, so that that person can say, I need to work on my issue with abandonment and rejection so that I can have healthy relationships with everyone around me and not always think that they're going to leave me.
Yes. Very true. Very true. We got a few people chiming in. So we got Mr. Warren Cave on here in Tallahassee, and he said to ask Ms. Hood to elaborate. I believe there are different levels of needing to talk or clean out the laundry. Looking back, there were times conversations extended for hours, sometimes days. Mhm.
Yes. So definitely there are different levels of, having to talk, cleaning out, it's really a matter of what is our purpose, right? Because like I said, when we get down to it, the purpose, as long as you stick to the purpose, then you can have a conversation, you can get to a bottom line. And if it's if you having family meetings, let's just say, for example, you have a family meeting, this might be a 30-45 minute family meeting. It's a talk. We're going to talk about it as a family. We're going to talk about it in a way that everybody feels dignified and everybody feels whole and everybody feels like we are talking about this, so that everybody gets the information, and not in a way that ostracizes or isolates people or points fingers, because that's not what we're going to do. And
Right.
we stay within the boundaries, because yes, you are right. We could have a family talk and it go on for days and days, but you just stay the course, and you always, like I said, go back to the goal, because the goal is to make me better. The goal is to make you better.
And Ron said, as soon as I heard call a thing, I knew there were going to be some ruffled feathers. Indeed. But, we got to ruffle some feathers, if we want to be made whole, if we want to heal. That's what we're all about. So Karen said, identify the monster so you know what weapon to use to slay the beast.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. You got to know what's there so that you'll know what's the possibility. I like I said, I took it on to myself when I came to the awareness that I'm number 3, that I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure that this ends here. And so my oldest, she will tell you, in no way was I perfect. And being a teen mom, I tell her all the time, you was kind of sort of an experiment. So Thank God that you made it, girl. Look at you. Look at you. Got all your hair. You ain't never been to jail. You're pretty. You're smart. You doing pretty good. But I made it my goal to know where she was, what she was doing, keep open communication, not have any secrets, because that's how I felt like I could make sure that she didn't have the same outcome, that she didn't continue the trend.
Mhm.
But what I didn't realize that I did, right, and my goal and my feat as a mom to raise her not to be a teen mom, I didn't raise her to be a woman. So she lacked womanhood in ways that she had to learn differently or on her own. So when we had that conversation and she told me that, I had to hear that, because that's another thing. When we have these conversations, we have to hear things that we don't really want to hear, but that's the role. We have to hear the hard things so that we can be better. That's how we can be better. When she told me, you raised me not to be a teen mom, but you didn't teach me how to be a woman. And that kicked me in my gut. And I sat with it for a while. And a couple of days later, I said, I don't know how to be a woman either. And I had to realize nobody taught me to be a woman either. So I had to realize, again, like I could only give what I had, but I had to go back to her. And a part of that, healing a family system is not being afraid to say, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Not being afraid to go back and say, you know what? I did my best, but in some places you needed more from me. And I didn't give you that, and I'm sorry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, that is quite the revelation in and of itself. The to be accountable, to be responsible for your actions, and especially when someone is telling you it impacted me in this way or that way. Having those type of open and honest conversations. And yes, Jamil, thank you for being here. She's also a clinician here in Tallahassee. She said I could only give what I had. Woo. Let me say hey to Miss Shirley Shirley Wilson in Tallahassee, and I also saw Miss Edna on here. So Edna McMillan mentioned that in talking, it's important to be transparent about the emotional aspects, not just the physical act.
Yes. 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 And I that bypassed me with the first one. With the first one, I was just like, everything was no. Everything was like, you doing what? Because I'm still trying to figure the thing out. Right. And so with my younger daughter, who is graduating in May, and let me tell you, I'm gonna try my best not to act a fool in them people's gymnasium because she will be the seal of the generation for that thing to be done, for that thing to be gone, the cycle being broken. But I can talk to her now in a way that's full. I cannot just talk about what we do. I cannot just talk about, I can have the actual talk with her, and I can say to her things about the act, but I can also talk to her about our emotions and how we definitely see things different than, the other person seeing something different. We talk about everything. So my kids will tell you, I do check-ins. You got a boyfriend? No, Mom. Okay. You got a girlfriend? What? Just tell me everything. I want to know. I don't want no surprises. I don't want none of that. So just tell me so I know how we're gonna function. We can't have secrets, because secrets kill us. Secrets hurt us. And so the handling of the family business is important, because what we don't want to happen is we don't want to get to the place that we're only handling the business when we at the funeral home and the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Yeah,
unfortunate. Like
it
that's
is.
when we've kind of dropped the ball. Because as long as we have breath, it's not too late. But we kind of
Mm-hmm.
dropped the ball. Now we got to work harder. Now we got to do more.
Yeah. I see Miss Doris on here. Hey, Miss Doris. Keosha repeated what you said. She said we have to focus on what we want to be instead of what not to be, which I
Mm-hmm.
think is very profound.
Yep.
Oftentimes, I think as parents, there's a lot of don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, instead of what you
Yes.
should do, the type of behavior you do want to exemplify. So, great
Yes.
point. Michael Court
Yes.
said, "How do you assess what you've taught? Is there a quantitative measurement? At what point is it okay to give our kids responsibility for their decisions?"
Um, so we're talking family wise, right? So we're talking, outside of a clinical space. Because in a clinical space, we definitely have tons and tons of measures, and you can circle a lot of dots and fill in a lot of bubbles. But really, when we go back to that conversation piece, right? What is in the reflection? I know if my kids got it when I see what they're doing. That's the reflection. If they are reflecting something that I didn't cast, then I know, oh, they just don't get it. Or they get it and they just choosing not to do it. Because
Mm,
either way, we got another conversation we got to have.
right.
But what's in the reflection? What are they reflecting back to me? It's just as simple. We see a lot of times and that's sometimes when we know like there's something bigger going on. That we know that there's something bigger going on when we know our kids are capable, when we know that they're really smart, when we know all these different things and they're not meeting certain qualifications, right? Teachers say it all the time. Oh my goodness, Johnny is so smart. I don't know why he's acting now. Well, it's the same way with our kids. It's the same way with our family members. Well, what's going on here? Because we had the talk and I feel like I put everything I had into you and it's not giving what it's supposed to give. Like something is going on. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what you might be missing, what I might be missing, right? And
Mm,
where might the the miscommunication be? Where might the holes be? Where might we be, kind of missing out in some way? Does that answer your question, Michael?
I hope so. Court, let us know if you want more, if you need some more clarity. So my mom said she really never heard it put that way. I was not taught to be a woman. I think sometimes, especially um, womanhood and manhood lessons are often taught via observation as opposed to maybe
Mm-hmm.
spoken word about this is what it means to be a
Mm-hmm.
man or a woman, or this is what you do as a man or a woman. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, but again, if that was not communicated, articulated, you may have thought, this some of these roles or tasks were unique to your mom, but that was what it meant to be a mom, not necessarily what it meant to be a woman, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And if I am doing it by observation, which a lot of you are definitely right, a lot of things are by observation. Um, then we got another problem. Because if I'm seeing you function in a way, then I might be like, Mama, we need to talk. Because if this is womanhood, I don't want it. Right? Like when we think about if I'm observing certain things, right? If I'm observing my mom worked all the time. And
Hmm.
so when we think about my mom never had time to like I don't remember my mom having time to herself. She had friends, but my mom was a very grown adult when she left the state of Illinois for the first time. And she only went to Minnesota to visit some cousins. But that was the first time. And I was almost a teenager. So she was much older. And so even when we watch, even when we're observing, we can still have these conversations about what we're observing. We can still have these conversations about what does that mean when we look at certain relationships that we have, or certain relationships that our family members have.
Mhm.
Sometimes it is important to know that Auntie Keisha is not really my auntie. Like you can say all day long, I'm still gonna call her Auntie Keisha. But if I need to know that Auntie Keisha is really, my sister or my cousin, that's important. We need to be able to have those conversations, and then we can go back to where we are. But once you have the knowledge and the understanding of it, then you can function in a way that you are informed. So many
Mhm.
times we are not informed or misinformed, and we don't know. We don't know that we could be privy to a certain pattern or privy to a certain cycle. We don't know. And so if I don't know, I'm just kind of being blind. I'm not being aware of my actions. I'm not being aware of how things impact me, impact my family. If I don't know that's around, if I don't know that's back there in that family tree, then I don't know that I'm a sitting duck. And so I
Right.
don't know how to protect myself or protect my kids or protect, I don't know how to do that.
Indeed. Katish Wright said, we start growing by facing and accepting our reality. Then we continue to grow by making an intentional decision to create change. We have known the seeds that created the unhealthy fruit. So, yeah. And if we know that, then what? Do we try to, you know, prune that? What do we do? Edna
Yeah,
says sometimes we as parents need to acknowledge that our words and instructions aren't lining up with what the child is seeing. So the whole do as I say, not as I do, maybe
yeah,
could be it.
definitely. Definitely.
Yes. Miss Jeanette says she taught human growth and development in fifth grade. I use the circle of life to introduce the children to reproduction. They must decide as they grow if they are recreating or if they're recreating or maybe recreating. I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to understand the
Mhm.
emphasis, whether it's recreating or recreating. Maybe I left them with control your mind, control your body. Teen pregnancy may be a result of not understanding ovulation and how the brain reacts at that time. Good
True.
point.
True.
Jamil, spoken word penetrates areas our eyes cannot physically see. Our words take residence in our hearts and our minds. Yes, and Ozzy kind of talked about that on Monday about our words having a vibration and energy and an impact.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
Yes.
Keeping it real from the jump matters. The trend and consistency follow.
Yes.
Yep,
Yes.
all good
Yes.
stuff. Okay. Wow. Well, we are getting very close to our closing time. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to give us any final remarks and tell the folks how they can connect with you. So, any closing
Yes.
remarks?
So, thank you again. This was such a refreshing experience for me, and I agree on our wonderful conversation. So I am, as you said, the owner of Sound Mind Works, and it is my private practice where I provide a number of classes. And these are classes that are done virtually. All of my work is virtual, but they range from emotionally healthy spirituality, which is an amazing course that basically helps you to kind of line up where are you between your spiritual self and your emotional in your mental health, basically, because sometimes we like to separate the sacred and the secular, but this helps us to really know, like, that they are definitely together, and that's emotionally healthy spirituality. I have, like I said, a family business class, and it's a class where we work on the things that impact us, and we ask and answer some of those hard questions, and we create, like I said, a family tree where we look at the trends, we look at what's going on in our families, and then we come up with what are we going to do? What are we going to do at the end to make sure that we can live whole? I also provide clinical supervision for any counselors in training that are wanting to get their hours for licensure. And I also have a forgiveness class because we know that forgiveness is not easy and it is very hard. And the forgiveness class is really to help you to not forgive for the person, but forgive for you. You know, when you realize if that class is for somebody that might realize, like, man, like, I really find it hard for me to get over this piece, to, you know, work through this situation because this is what I have an issue with, forgiving this person. And so that's an ideal candidate for that class. And finally, I do some one-on-one coaching. It's called Hey Girl Hey, and that is usually about 6 to 8 sessions. So we come up with a goal, we come up with, you know, what's not going right, and then we come up with a plan, and you get homework. I'm very supportive, but I'm also very much action oriented, and provide those services. So you can find me on Instagram, soundmind.works LLC, or you can go to my website, www.soundmindworks.com. And you can contact me, fill out a contact form, or sign up for one of the classes if you want more information. And I also provide outreach services. So I do presentations, public speaking, things like that.
All right. Wonderful. Wonderful. So folks are chiming in. Great conversation. Nicole, thank you for continuing to bring these conversations to your platform. Greater Works.
Yes.
Yes. All
Yes.
right. And excellent conversation with my SWIH sister, Strong Women in Heels. Yes.
Yes.
Ozzy said, good conversation and very tactful on many issues in the problem solving methods. Yes. And Cork also gave us a great conversation. So, yeah, if this has been beneficial and you all enjoyed it, let us know in the comments. Let us know. Let us know. We want to hear from you. Cork did have a comment before you came on and did your wrap up. He said that if my child sneaks to do something, I know it's been taught and understood.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You are right.
Yeah, my cousin Nora also said good conversation. Thank you, Nora, for being here.
Yes.
Appreciate you. All right. So we got Pumpkin on here and Susan, my girlfriend in Virginia. Thank y'all. We really appreciate the interaction, the dialogue, and we want to encourage you to keep this conversation going.
Yes.
Yeah. So for those of you who are new to Conversations with Nicole, you can see scrolling at the bottom to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. We need all the support we can get. You can follow us on
Yes.
Instagram at Conversations with Nicole, as well as on Facebook.
Yes. Support, Nicole. If you're not subscribed, why? Why haven't you subscribed yet? Just press the button, subscribe. And
Go on
here
the
every
chili for
Monday,
me,
every
Magnolia.
Wednesday. Every
Yeah,
Monday, every Wednesday. What are you doing?
that's right. What you
You missing
doing?
out. You missing out. What are you doing?
You
You missing
missing
out.
out. You missing out. Tell them again, Magnolia.
Yes,
8:30
you are
p.m.
missing
Eastern.
out. You missing
Yes.
out.
Yes. All right. My mom said one of the best. Thank you, Mom.
Definitely. Thank you, Mom.
And Karen Montgomery in Orlando, he said, awesome segment. Okay, Karen, let me know when you wanted to come back on. I know you got some more to say, so I appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
All right, good people. Listen, we're going to give you the rest of your evening. Again, thank you for being here. Again, we are on Mondays and Wednesdays. And again, keep the conversation going. Share this with a friend, a loved one. Let them know that, this was a meaningful segment. And, we want to keep those family secrets out and not secret anymore. Call a thing a thing. Right?
Yes, call a thing a thing. Thank you so much, Nicole. I know people tell you this all the time, but I've never heard nobody say it to you, so I'm just going to say it to you. Thank you for using your platform for empowerment and for using your platform for encouragement and inspiration, because everybody that has a platform does not use it to that degree for the good. And so thank you for using your platform in this way.
My pleasure. To God be the glory. So thank
Amen.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, y'all. Love y'all. We will see y'all next week. Have a good night. Good weekend.
Yes. Have a good night.
Bye.